I'm sure some of you probably have taken the time to binge watch some of the old shows back in the day that you missed because during that time you weren't able to watch them. So I'm kind of going through that now. Tell you guys a little story. Back in the day, my mother and grandmother used to watch the soap operas, and there were certain ones that they used to watch, and they would watch them, and then after they get through watching them, they would get on the phone and talk about the different characters and what happened on the show that day. My mother and my grandmother had this sisterly type relationship where they would gossip about it. And then eventually, especially in the summertime, I would start watching the soap operas too once I got a certain age. And then it turned out to be a thing where the three of us would talk about it. And then when I got a little older and started dating and started getting involved in adult things, I kind of strayed away from watching those soap operas. So now, thanks to modern technology and streaming services, I'm able to watch some of the old episodes. So there's a certain soap opera that I'm watching now, and I'm trying to get caught up. It's one of the newer soap operas, and I haven't watched it in a couple of years. So it's pre-pandemic. And I happened to be watching some of my recommended channels the other day on YouTube, and I noticed that a lot of the 2019, 2020 episodes have been uploaded. So I'm in the middle of binge watching them now. So I'm entertaining myself during the day. And there was one particular episode that made me think about a parent sacrifice. Family is being divided. It's a blended family. So you have a father that has children that are grown going through their thing, and then you have the mother who has children going through their thing. And apparently there's conflict going on between the kids. Kids have their secret, and then, on both sides, and the parents are now kind of at each other's throats because the kids' secrets are causing pain with the other kids' secrets. You know how these things go with soap operas. So, it made me think about, I see situations sometimes, especially in court cases, where you have parents that have children that are being booked for serious crimes like, drug trafficking or, assault, or in some cases murder. And the child has had a history of crime or a history of mental illness. They've been in trouble, for a while. It's not a brand new thing. And when you get the parents' testimony, it's kind of like a thing where, it's not that they intentionally make excuses, but it always surrounds something about, well, if they had gotten the help, or if the system did this, or, if the absent parent did that, or if we had the money to do this, or, it was always some external factor as to why the child did what they did. And very few parents will stand up and say, you know what, I accept the fact that the child did X, Y, Z. When they give their testimony, deep down they don't want the child to have to pay the price for what they did, or the truth is what it is. And then there's some cases, the parents will sit there and try to take the fall for the kid. That's hard to do nowadays, though. With modern forensics and technology, it's very, very hard for a parent to take a murder rap for someone, not with DNA and forensics the way they are. It's just hard. They're going to catch the perpetrator regardless. Excuse me again. And you have some situations where, the parent just wants to take on full responsibility for the child. But in the end, that's not helping the child. Then you have some situations where the parent is divided and choosing between siding with the spouse and siding with the child. Now, I've heard a lot of people say, well, if I have to choose between my child and my spouse, I'm going to choose for my child. Well, you have to determine the circumstances. I look at it like this. I'm not going to look at the person. I'm going to look at the situation. If my spouse was guilty of a crime and committed a crime, unfortunately, they're going to have to suffer the consequences, period. If my child committed a crime and was guilty of the crime, they're going to have to suffer the consequences, period. I cannot make myself an accessory to the crime. I cannot cover up the crime. I cannot assist and aid and abet. I cannot help cover up, because the way that we have artificial intelligence and forensics and DNA and technology, they're going to get caught up with in surveillance. My child or my spouse, they're going to catch up with them. And when they catch up with them and find out that I am involved, they're going to catch up with me. And I didn't do anything wrong, so it's going to be 2 of us locked up, or 2 of us in death row, or God forbid, 2 of us dead in a standoff, 2 of us dead in a shootout, 2 of us dead in a murder-suicide, 2 of us. We have to take accountability for what we do. And I know a lot of the mothers and grandmothers out there would be like, well, how can you say that? You would give your child up? How could you say that? You would give your husband up? You would give your wife up? If the person is guilty, they're going to have to pay for the crime. Period. Would I love them any less? No. But there's just way too many ways of tracking people down. You hear about it on the news every single day. Cold cases, decades long, being found. Fugitives on the run, many years being located. And anybody associated with that person who is assisted being located and charged. This thing is no joke, people. No joke. Now, if it's a case of self-defense, where my child or my mate had no choice but to take a life because their life was being threatened, that's an extenuating circumstance. But if they willfully broke the law when they had other alternatives, knowing that there could have been another way of handling the situation, I can't cover it up. I can't do it. I can't hide you. I can't try to get you out of it. I can't bail you out. You got to sit it out. You got to sit it through. It's just got to happen. Because I might be establishing the mentality that you figure, oh, well, you know what, no matter what I do, Deanna's going to cover me. And that's a bad mentality to have for a person like that. They'll never learn to do what's right. They're going to figure, oh, I could do any old dumb thing, and she'll cover me. That's not the way to go. That's not going to help them, and that's certainly not going to help you. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys go. Peace.